¿Qué pasa, YouTube? What's up? How's it going, everybody? So, I kind of want to quickly apologize to you guys because I thought that I had more battles saved up than I originally had thought, but I don't. So this is a battle I kind of saved for a rainy day, and I was like, well, I might as well try and get it up today, and hopefully I'll be able to get some Wi-Fi battles later today as well, so I can upload for you guys. Now, I do have some cool OU teams that I actually do want to try out, so I'm going to try and not bring such standard OU stuff to future Wi-Fi battles. So yeah, hopefully you guys will like that. But for today, we're sticking with this pretty cool team that was based around Blacephalon. I don't quite remember if I still have the paste bin of this team, or I think I may have this team actually saved on Showdown, so I'll leave a link to it down in the description. But this match is against Sharpedo43, very great battler. Check him out, guys. His channel link and stuff are going to be down below in the description. So of course, if you guys do enjoy, hit that like button down below and answer the common question of the day. So let's go ahead and get this started. Now, the combination of Tapu Koko and a late game Mega Pinsir were absolutely terrifying going into this battle. Also, I completely overlooked and did not fully realize how much of a giant pain in my side this Ferrothorn was going to be to me in this battle. So I ended up leading off with my Greninja. I think I U-turned into my Blacephalon as he goes straight for the lead seed, and as soon as he clicked that lead seed, it dawned on me that I have nothing to stop Ferrothorn from just clicking lead seed on my entire team except for Blacephalon. So that thing is going to be a humongous issue as I double out into my Greninja, expecting him to bring in either the Latios or the Tapu Koko. I was kind of hoping he would bring in Tapu Koko so I could actually hit him up with the Gunk Shot. I think Gunk Shot Oko's Koko. I don't remember off the top of my head, but if it did, I definitely would have gone for that. Either way, though, U-turning there was still pretty good against the Latios because even if he was Scarfed, I am Scarfed and naturally faster than Latios, so I would have been able to get off a super effective stab U-turn thanks to Protean as I get a crit on the Ferrothorn. That crit really doesn't matter in the long run of the match, as you guys will see here, because this thing is so damn annoying to deal with. And then he ends up making a really good play here, goes for the knockoff, expecting me to not go for the fire type move. And now I'm in kind of a bit of predicament because I want to substitute, but at the same time, I don't really want to go straight for the flamethrower because him switching out is very obvious. And if I can get my Blacephalon behind a substitute, then I absolutely destroy everything on his team because he realistically has no safe switch-ins to a non-choice Blacephalon. If I'm not mistaken, this was actually sub-Calm Mind Blacephalon, so if I was able to get up a Calm Mind, then initially I just OHKO'd everything, but I do end up substituting here, expecting him to switch as he does actually bring in the Tapu Koko, and his best move in my opinion was to definitely go for the Volt Switch. I don't think he would want to risk losing his Tapu Koko this early on in the battle, especially because my best answer to it is going to be my Landorus in the back, and once I lose Landorus, Specs Koko just kind of comes in, and that's a huge issue as I do Shadow Ball here, expecting him to bring in the Latios, thinking that I would go for the Flamethrower. I believe it was actually a damage roll after rocks to be able to knock him out, but it wasn't a roll in my favor, so he is able to chew the hit there, and he knows I'm not going to stay and risk losing the only thing I have to deal with Ferrothorn and the biggest threat to his team. So he does make the good play there and going for the recover as I bring in my Magearna here. I believe I just ended up going for the Flash Cannon because it was a safe middle ground play. Part of me thought that he was going to try to bring in the Landorus, expecting me to go for the Volt Switch, and I don't think he would want to risk bringing in Ferrothorn because if I Volt Switched against Ferrothorn, then I just bring back in my Blacephalon and it's the same cycle over and over again where I just bring it in against his Ferrothorn and I just get a KO on his team. So I thought Flash Cannon there was a safe middle ground play as he brings in the Magnezone. I am Assault Vested, so I really was not too concerned about what he wanted to go for, although I have seen some Corkscrew Crash Magnezones before, at least at the time that this battle was taken anyway. So I switched directly into my Tapu Koko here as I will be able to break the substitute with the Volt Switch. I mean, I Volt Switch into Koko, then I Volt Switch again, break the sub, and I'm going to bring in my Latios here, expecting him to just go for either the Flash Cannon or go for the substitute, but lo and behold, he does actually bust out the Corkscrew Crash, and I honestly thought that my Latios was just going to get absolutely blown back right here. I did not expect to actually live this hit, but I mean, I guess Latios does have some respectable bulk, and this might have been a timid Magnezone as opposed to modest, or maybe I just live all of the time without Stealth Rocks. I'm not really too sure. Maybe I'll post a cup on screen. Either way though, if he had knocked me out, I don't think that would have been the end of this battle anyways. If I could have just sacked off my Coco, I could have sacked off my Latios and then brought in either my Coco or my Blacephalon. As this turn, I do decide to go for the Roost on the off chance that I could still easily tank a Flash Cannon the following turn, as he actually switches into his Landers, which was a pretty good play on his part because Mega Latios do typically carry Earthquake to be able to hit Heatran, so he was probably scouting out for that. As I'm going to make the hard switch out here because I do not want to risk this Landers possibly being Choice Scarf, because that might have been another reason why he brought it in so aggressively against my Latios, because he expected me to Roost or Earthquake, and then because he Scarfed, he could outspeed me and potentially knock me out. So he does end up U-turning here back into this giant nuisance that is Ferrothorn. I'm going to make a aggressive play here, and I'm gonna go for the Swords Dance because my thought was that even if he goes for Leech Seed here, there is no way this Ferrothorn should be able to beat my Landorus 1v1, and I can also potentially go for a second Swords Dance, ensuring that Earthquake, I think, should be an OHKO depending on what his EV spread is, or after +2, a Flynium Z Fly, I think, actually does OHKO standard Ferrothorn there. So I really felt like I didn't lose much in going for Swords Dance, as I then go for my Stealth Rocks, thinking that he would try to sack something off, predicting me to go for my Z move. But at this point I'm thinking, alright, well, I will gladly get off about 70-ish% on this Ferrothorn and then knock him out the following turn. But he makes a really good play here, catches me on the Earthquake, and he's going to end up bringing in the Landers, which turns out to be Life Orb, so I could have possibly stayed in with my Latios. And I think I did actually have Ice Beam, so I might have been able to knock him out. Like I said, this match is a little bit old, and I don't remember all the sets, but I will try to leave them all in the description if I can find them. So this turn, I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go straight for my Z move. Because he's got leftovers, I'm very confident that he is a standard physically defensive Landers, which is still actually straight O-code, even though he did get the Intimidate off, because I'm still at +1. If I'm not mistaken, this was also Adamant Landers, and that's kind of crazy to me, man, that at +1, an Adamant Landers with the Z move can OHKO a max defense Landers, and the fact that I just broke through that Landorus is absolutely huge for my Tapu Koko in the back. So I'm going to try to be a little bit cheeky here and expect him to go for the Ice Beam or the Psychic, and I'm going to try to switch directly into my Tapu Koko, fully knowing that this was probably not the best play I should have made, because at the same time I have a Magearna in the back, and Magearna is literally a perfect switch in to this Latios, as he ends up doing a really solid chunk of damage to me. And I was kind of facepalming here because Tapu Koko can literally just come in here and click Thunderbolt or Volt Switch in electric terrain, and there's nothing he can do about it besides switch in something to allow me to gain momentum or just sack something off to my Koko here. So I decided to be aggressive and go for the Thunderbolt. In hindsight, probably should have gone for the Volt Switch because I would have been able to keep up momentum. There was also really no good reason why he should have sacked off Latios. Like, Latios could definitely still put in some work later in this match. Plus, if I had gone for the Volt Switch, I would have been able to gain some momentum and possibly have brought in my Greninja or my Blacephalon. So this turn I'm going to hard switch in to Blacephalon, expecting him to go for the Leech Seed and not go for the knockoff, wanting to try to keep his Ferrothorn as healthy as possible, as he does luckily go for the Leech Seed. Even if he went for the knockoff, I still would have been able to take the hit, and then from there he would have just had to sack something off regardless. But by going for the Leech Seed, he can now get that initial damage on me every single turn. So I'm gonna make a bit of a cheeky play here, and I'm actually gonna go for the Substitute, expecting him to sack off the Magnezone. Now, another play that he could have made was trying to switch into Latios, but if he had tried to do that, I think after Stealth Rocks, it might have been a roll on whether or not Flamethrower was going to be able to knock him out. And even if I wouldn't have knocked him out with Flamethrower, I'm still getting off a huge amount of damage on the Latios, and then as he roosts, I get a free switch into my Magearna or my Koko and potentially get a KO or force him out and just gain momentum back in my favor. So ultimately, I felt like substituting here was my best play, because behind a substitute, I punish whatever he decides to bring in against me that is going to be faster than me. As he brings in the Tapu Koko, I'm going to go straight for the Flamethrower. Unfortunately though, Koko is very bulky, and is able to just barely hang on. This is where I kind of wish I had the Fire Blast, because I would have been able to just get a free KO essentially and not have had to worry about the Leech Seed here, and I wouldn't have had to worry about the Coco later in the match. Regardless though, I'm going to switch directly here into my Landers, expecting him to maybe be Choice Specs, and if he's not Choice Specs, he's not really in a position of where he can go for the Dazzling Gleam or the Hidden Power Ice just because of how big of a threat Blacephalon really is to his team. So this turn I'm going to double out into my Magearna, thinking that he would either go for the HP Ice or try to bring back in potentially the Latios, thinking that I would go for the Earthquake. So Magearna I felt was a nice middle ground play, as he actually brings in the Pinsir, maybe thinking I would try to go for the Earthquake there, or on the off chance that I did try and U-turn. Actually no, this lander doesn't have U-turn, does it? No, it's Stealth Rock, Swords Dance, Earthquake, and Fly, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Pinsir was a good play there on his part because I didn't have any move to hit it for super effectively, or if I did try to go for the Fly, he then could have just brought in Ferrothorn to punish me with the Iron Barb. So I'm going to Volt Switch here, do a whole 2%. Thanks to the electric terrain, that extra 1% is really, really huge, guys. You will come to find out. But here, I'm just going to be aggressive. I really lose nothing in just clicking Flamethrower here. Much like earlier, I don't care if he wants to bring in Latios. If it lives and roosts, there is a chance that I can shift momentum into my favor as he goes for the roost. But I do end up knocking out the Ferrothorn here. He probably expected me to try to go for the substitute again, which honestly, that wasn't a bad assumption for him to have made. But in this scenario, I felt like I could definitely just go for the Flamethrower and not lose anything in doing so. As in comes Latios. Actually, yeah, I think at this amount of HP, Flamethrower definitely would have been able to knock him out. I'm pretty positive. Like, Blacephalon has, what, a base 151 special attack stat, and this Latios is at about 25-ish%. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that Flamethrower would have knocked him out there. But he's going to knock me out with the Earthquake. I don't really need Blacephalon at this point. Everything he's got left outspeeds me. Once Pinsir Mega Evolves, it outspeeds me. But this does give me a free switch into my Tapu Koko, and I just kind of click Volt Switch here and claim a KO. So down goes a Latios. I can Volt Switch into my Greninja, which I think he actually does not know at this point in the match if I'm Scarfed or not, because much like earlier, Greninja is naturally faster than Latios, so if he thought that maybe I wasn't Scarfed or that I was Scarfed, he might have brought in Pinsir here instead of bringing in Coco. But I do outspeed him, gonna knock him out with the U-turn, and at this point his last mon is going to be the Pinsir, which should not be able to beat the combination of my Coco, Landorus, and Scarf Greninja, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think there's any way that Pinsir here would have been able to make a comeback. As long as he Mega Evolved here, I think Volt Switch actually knocked him out after those 2 rounds of Stealth Rock damage, because I was touching the ground, so I got the electric terrain boost because of Volt Switch. So yeah, that was a pretty fun, good game to Sharpedo here. Sharpedo is a very good battler, guys. He has beat me plenty of times before, and he has tossed me once or twice as well. So definitely check him out. Channel link will be down in the description. Hopefully y'all did enjoy the battle. Make sure to hit that like button down below, answer the comment question of the day, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I will be bringing you guys some OU battles with some more fun non-standard teams, hopefully. So yeah, I do hope you guys enjoy that, and I'm gonna try taking a break from Ubers and UU battles. Actually, I have one UU battle saved, I believe, but I didn't want to upload that again because I thought I had a different battle saved, so I was like, I might as well just upload this OU one. So yeah, probably one more UU battle, then I'll be sticking to the RU, NUs, PUs, and doing some fun OU battles here and there. So with that being said, enough rambling on my part, guys. Thank you all for watching. Later, everybody.
No matter where you're at, I'm not here to make friends, it's time to attack and deplete your HP with a final smash. Don't make me turn around and pull a 6-foot hacks. 6 foot hacks, yeah. 6 foot hacks, yeah. 6 foot hacks.